The Dodgers have the highest total, as you might imagine, 103.5, which to me is just absolutely insane. Braves 93.5, Yankees, Phillies 91 and a hook. Mets are sitting there at 90.5. So plenty of totals you can bet on, or you can fade a team if you want. But when you look at these numbers on the board, first of all, let me just ask you about the Dodgers in general. Would you bet on an over when it comes to the Dodgers with a total that high? I mean, they have the talent.
Well, that's a really high total. Like 103.5 is
Yeah.
nothing to shake a fist at. And plus their division's really tough. Like we know that the schedule's a little different to where divisional games aren't as big of a piece of the pie as they used to be, but you
Mm-hmm.
still get 52 divisional games. And the Padres are tough. The Diamondbacks are tough. Hell, that race for the NL West kind of came down to the wire last season. So I feel like some of those games are going to be tougher than maybe people expect, even when you have an all-world roster. Because that's the thing. Baseball is such a large sample size sport that you're going to lose some games. Like nobody's going to run the table. Nobody's going to win 162 games. I know it may feel that way in spring training when the Dodgers keep signing all these veterans or all these free agents that move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like this is too high of a total that I'm probably going to stay away from it. It just feels like there's no value on the Dodgers. Like, what are they, plus 250 to win the World Series?
Yeah.
These are bananas numbers.
Yeah, I'd fade it on principle. I mean, if they go over 103.5 wins, and they certainly could, that's such a ridiculously high number. I just don't think I can do it. I mean, there's no question that they're the most loaded team in baseball. There's a reason why those odds are so short, but that would be a negatory for me. I'll tell you, Dylan just put in the chat, Red Sox are going to go 162-0, which that's something Lucy would absolutely say. When it comes to one bet I really like, I would go under on the Braves total. 93.5. Here's the thing. That's a high total anyway, and the Braves are going to be very good. They're always very good. But Ronald Acuna Jr. still isn't fully recovered from his knee surgery. He has been working out during spring training. And also, the Braves aren't quite sure when Spencer Strider is going to return. Now, when they do, of course, that's going to be huge for this team. But when you've got two massive pieces to that roster who may not play early in the season, that's going to affect you in a negative way. The Braves are still going to win a lot of games, but those two guys potentially being out for however long it is, that's good for an extra couple of losses, I feel like, at least. And you know what? Talking about these totals that are usually pretty razor sharp, that could make the difference. So it's not to say the Braves can't make a lot of noise this season, but I think they'll really come together later on in the year. So I would go under on their win total.
The Braves are such a good regular season team, though. This is a
Yeah.
high number, and I think that's still your best selling point. It's just a lot of wins. But if you look at the Braves in the regular season, they won 104 games last year, 101 in 2022, and 97 in 2019. And remember, we know Ronald Acuna Jr. is certainly an MVP candidate, but they won the World Series without him. Like, this is a team that makes really
Yeah.
good moves. They have a really deep lineup. And sometimes the starting pitching woes don't really matter as much until we get to the postseason. So if you have like some good, I don't want to call them mediocre, but like solid starters, not
Yeah.
top end aces, but guys that can get the job done behind one of the best offenses in baseball, you can still win a lot of games. Like that division is going to be really tough. And this goes into the handicap for the Mets and the Phillies as well. But when the Mets and the Phillies are also in your division, those are going to be some tough games. But man, the Braves have been just such a good regular season team that I
Yeah.
think I'd be a little nervous for that one. If we're talking about the NL East, I think I'd go under on the Mets. Like 91.5 is the number that you can get across the board at some other places. I know we said 90.5, but 91.5 is out there. So obviously, if you're taking the under, go ahead and take that one. The Mets have been a team that's been very streaky. And we see it. And usually in vernacular, we say the Mets are going to Met because usually there's a stretch in the season where they lose a bunch of games and it feels like the sky is falling. And then the media covers it and things compound and they get worse. But if you look at this total for their season wins for the regular season, 91.5, They've only gone over this once in the regular season since the year 2006. It was the year 2022. They won 101 regular season games, and they've had some good years, during that stretch since 2006. Teams that have gone to the World Series, I believe, and last year it was a good team as well. So I just think it's too high of a number. So I think I'll go under on the Mets as opposed to the Braves.
Oh, that's tough. How much do you factor Grimace into your handicap there?
Mm,
That's a tough one.
yeah. I don't know if he
Yeah.
goes 162. Like, can he come to all the games? I don't think so.
Hmm. Yeah, he
Mm,
probably can't. He's got. I mean, he's Grimace. I mean, come on. Everybody wants a piece of Grimace, and
busy
now
guy.
after. Oh my God, are you kidding me? In demand, New York City. You can't pin down Grimace. That guy is a ladies' man. Well, I go back and forth on the Mets. I really don't have a strong opinion either way, but it is a high total. And also, when you sign a guy like Juan Soto, that number might be a little bit inflated. What's another number you're looking at on the board? You think, maybe go over, maybe go under? What's a team you're looking at here?
Yeah, I think I'll go with the Royals here. A team that
Okay.
it looks like they're poised to have a breakout season. And last year, it was an exciting team to watch simply because their pitching staff was really good. Bobby Witt Jr. looked like an MVP, and he's still a young guy with plenty of upside left in the tank. So if you look at their win total sitting at, let's see, 83 and a half. I think I'll go over there. It's less about playing the number for me and more about, seeing the upside that this team has. Plus, it's a mid-market team. Like, the Royals aren't taking, the headlines away from the Yankees and the Dodgers, but maybe an under the radar team that, remember, they went toe to toe with the Yankees. They had a pitching staff that was just as good. They just didn't have the bats last year.
Yeah, I like that a lot. The Royals are a team that are absolutely on the come up, and they're going to be a fun team to watch. That's one of those teams
Mm.
where even casual baseball fans, I feel like, can get behind. It's a smaller market team, and you mentioned Bobby Witt Jr., and they're just a fun team. So that's going to be a great team to watch. I'm also I'm also curious about the Red Sox sitting at 86 and a half. And I keep going back and forth. I think Lucy started to rub off on me last week because it was all things Red Sox. But, you know, you just hear Red Sox, Red Sox, Red Sox, Red Sox. I'm like, yeah, Red Sox, Red Sox. But I think maybe here's the thing about that division is I think the Red Sox could maybe touch the over. I like Garrett Crochet. I think he's going to be very good. And they need Walker Buehler to step up after he struggled a little bit. But if he can return to form a little bit, Bregman's a great signing. And they have talent there. They got Rafi Devers and his head on straight. I think they've done a lot of things to stay competitive in that division. But the one thing that worries me about Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles is that that division is so competitive that they're going to beat up on each other quite a bit because everyone's so talented. So when you talk about those division games, it's going to be difficult for any one of those teams to dominate. I don't think we see that. So I think I would go under for the Yankees. I think the Yankees are always a little bit overvalued, but I might slip to the over when it comes to the Red Sox, or maybe I've just been brainwashed here on the show.
Maybe some brainwashing going on there with Lucy being in your ear for all of
I
last
know.
week. I
I
think the Red
know.
Sox are good, but again, it's a high total. If you look at
Yeah.
their last three seasons, they've had 78, 78, and 81 wins. In 2021, when they won the AL East, won 92 games, which is only a few games over that, and they made it all the way to the LCS. So some of these are just high totals. So we'll see. It's a long season. Win totals can be tricky. I feel like the ones that you probably get the most value on are the teams that you kind of peg as the come up teams, the teams like the Royals,
Yeah.
or, the teams that, not a ton of people are betting on as opposed to some of those big market teams. Cause, sure, the Dodgers could very well go over 103 and a half wins, but it's going to be like a sweat till the end. Cause like, you're not going to cash a bet like that, like mid season,
No.
obviously.
Very true. All right. We got a little bit of time here. A minute or so. Any other team on the board that stands out to you, like the over? Is there a team that you think might be over? I mean, these are a lot of high numbers, but a team that you think is
Mhm.
just not going to be very good this season. I mean, the numbers generally reflect that, but sometimes you'll find a team and you're like, you know what? Things have not gone well for them during the offseason. Let's go under.
I don't know about that, but you can look at some of these teams and say, hey, this is a team that's good, but maybe they're just not as strong during the regular season. The Astros
Hmm.
kind of strike me as that type of team to where it's similar to like the Golden State Warriors in the past or whatever team that you say, okay, they can kind of sandbag through most of the regular season and still get the job done in the postseason, no matter what their record is, if they make it to the postseason, they have a chance. But it's still a team that's coming off all those expiring contracts, losing Alex Bregman. So maybe I'd go under on the Astros, even though I'm not fading them as a team. I just feel like they don't have to get it done in the regular season. They don't have to win 100 games.
No, absolutely not. And when you have that postseason experience, that goes a long way. Not that you mail it in, but you know how to turn
Right.
it up a notch because you understand what it takes when it comes to playoff baseball.